it meets the American Psychological Association's criteria for an evidence-based practice for anxiety, PTSD, depression, and phobias. And so it's an extremely powerful stress relief tool that I use for every aspect of my life. Like, you can use it for relationships, limiting beliefs. You can grow your business. You can manage your stress in all areas of life. Since most issues have stress as its basis, EFT is really effective to relieve the stress that comes with that, and like just clear the blocks that get in the way of moving forward.
Welcome back to the PCOS Holistic Coach YouTube and podcast with me, Dr. Ami Patel, pharmacist, fellow sister, and coach. Today, I'm excited to have a special guest who is going to be sharing her expertise with us, Annie Moussu. Welcome, Annie.
Thanks, Ami. It's a pleasure to be here. Thanks for having me.
Definitely. So a little bit of introduction on Annie. Annie is a certified EFT Tapping Master Practitioner and host of the Hush Your Mind podcast. She helps women build confidence, set empowered boundaries, and enjoy healthy relationships. Her struggles with perfectionism and codependency spurred her inner growth journey. Originally from California and now living in France, Annie offers EFT sessions online to help others speak their truth and come home to themselves, which sounds so amazing. And I'm excited to dive into it. So I know a lot of you guys might be wondering, like, what does PCOS and EFT have? Like, how are they connected? So I know that everyone in general is just stressed out in life nowadays. And with PCOS, having PCOS can cause a lot of stress, but factors outside of PCOS can make the stress from that can make PCOS worse. And I've done a whole different episode looking at the effects of stress in depth and how it affects PCOS and 5 tips to manage it. So make sure you guys listen to that episode. But I think when it comes to managing stress, you need to have a lot of different tools in your toolkit, and sometimes different tools are needed for different situations. So I wanted everyone to be introduced to EFT tapping as a tool that can help them, and I wanted an expert to share her knowledge with us. So Annie, let's dive into it. What exactly is EFT tapping for people that may not know?
Yes, so EFT is emotional freedom techniques, or some people call it tapping, and it's a really potent stress relief tool. As you tap on these acupuncture points that I'll show you in a little bit, you're basically sending a signal to your amygdala that's in charge of the fight or flight reaction to calm down. So, whenever you feel anxious and you get your heartbeat, goes faster, your hands get kind of sweaty and all that, that's your stress response. And then as you start tapping, you quickly and immediately just calm down. Your mind calms down. It relieves anxiety and it relieves pain. So EFT is based in Chinese acupuncture, and it's we often say it's acupuncture without the needles, or it's emotional acupuncture. Very non-invasive process that we can use to heal all sorts of things. It's been, it meets the American Psychological Association's criteria for an evidence-based practice for anxiety, PTSD, depression, and phobias. And so it's an extremely powerful stress relief tool that I use for every aspect of my life. Like, you can use it for relationships, limiting beliefs. You can grow your business. You can manage your stress in all areas of life. Since most issues have stress as its basis, EFT is really effective to relieve the stress that comes with that, and like just clear the blocks that get in the way of moving forward.
That's really amazing. Yeah, I definitely like how you said it looks at like the basis of the issue. I think a lot of times, whether like with PCOS, for example, it's not just about managing the symptoms, but it's like going deep into what is the root cause of your PCOS, whether, stress a major factor or other things, and resolving the issue at the base level so that you're not experiencing these things that you mentioned, whether it's anxiety, depression, or relationship issues, confidence issues. So I really like that.
Yeah, I mean, that's the key to EFT, is we're actually healing the root issue always. Because these issues they're like the top of the leaves, like the stress, the anxiety, relationship issues, weight gain, that kind of thing. it's like the symptom. It's what we're, usually seeing in our daily life. But if you want to heal that, you have to go down into the trunk and the roots. That's where you find the limiting beliefs, the fears, the unhealed past wounds, the trauma. And once you heal those, then you find that the leaves just become big, beautiful leaves. You find, healthy boundaries, the
Mhm.
well-being, peace of mind. So, I mean, I think that's just the minimum, is to actually go into the root cause instead of trying to manage symptoms. That's how healing
Yeah.
happens so quickly and effectively.
Yeah, I definitely agree with that. It sounds really magical. Right.
It is, and yet it's proven, by tons of research journals and studies
Yeah.
that I mean, it's pretty amazing. I mean, in just 1 hour of tapping, you're reducing your cortisol levels, your stress levels by 43%, and that's in a group
Oh, that's
session.
good.
I mean, if you ever do a group session, you can tap on whatever the issue is presenting. Maybe you have a volunteer tapping in the group, and your issue doesn't even have to be the same one as the person tapping. As long as you tap
Mm.
along, you will still benefit from the lowered stress levels by the end of that 1 hour, compared to 19% with a therapist. So, I
Oh,
mean, there's
nice.
just more and more studies coming out every day, and it's just a matter of time that it's become, really, really widespread. It's only been here since the 90s, so I can't wait to see
Yeah.
what will happen when it just takes over the world.
No, I agree with that. Like, I just recently came across EFT tapping like earlier this year, and I thought like, oh, this sounds like something I would like doing and be interested in because I like acupuncture and I find that to be really helpful for myself. And like you said, it's similar to acupuncture in terms of like hitting,
Mhm.
certain points in your body. So I agree. I think that, and I mean, we'll get into it, but it's like, pretty simple to start learning how to do, and it's really effective.
Oh,
So how
yeah.
were you introduced to EFT tapping? Like, is this how you started or what got you into it?
No, I've been on this healing path for a while, but I was maybe a few years ago, I started a group coaching program with another fellow coach, and she helped us with our abundance blocks. And in that group
Mm.
coaching program, she introduced me to EFT. I had heard about it before, but it looked, so ridiculous that it turned me off. Like, what is this doing? I didn't understand what it was about. But I went with it because I was desperate. I wanted to heal my money and abundance blocks, and she was using
Mm.
EFT, and we are tapping on things that didn't seem directly linked to money, like self-worth or
Mm.
support, lack of support in my life, that kind of thing. And it unblocked stuff, and then I saw that money would come in. Like it'd be in the form of
Mm.
coupons or maybe a discount or a new client. And I was just so stunned that I had to find out more about it. And since I've become certified, I've realized that it can be used to, heal really deep issues like trauma and lifelong patterns. Like I have a very deeply held fear of abandonment that's come from
Oh.
childhood. And despite all the meditation and the self inquiry that I did, it just never really quite went away. And it would show up in my relationships and just the lack of confidence, in my daily life. And it wasn't until I really tapped on it that I got to the root of it, that I was able to release the stress from my body, 'cause that's where a lot of the wounds are held, is in our body. We can understand it really easily in our mind, even forgive people who hurt us, but until we release it from the body, then it's still kind of festering underneath the surface. So, I've come a long way with EFT, in that I'm now using it every day to grow my business, to improve my relationship, to just show up more fully in life. Any issue I have, I'm using it. So it's something that I will keep doing for the rest of my life, and I want to really share it with the world and let people know that it's there, it's accessible to everyone, and
Mhm.
anytime, anywhere. It's so simple, the basic EFT sequence, that even little kids can do it. And
Oh,
some schools actually share it with their kids, so that they feel calm and confident as they show up in their lives. So yeah, it's
that's so
amazing.
good. No, that is so
Mhm.
good. It's so good that schools are now like incorporating these practical things for us to learn. But it's amazing to hear your story that like, EFT tapping, it can be used in basically like all aspects of your life, whether it's like work, business, relationships, and yourself, of course. So that's really good. Good to know. I think like and with stress, it's really hard to like quantify stress. Like we sometimes don't even know how stressed we are until we're not stressed, and then we realize like, "Hey, I was, like,
Yes.
really stressed out." And, like, you know, at least, like, with sleep, you could be like, "Oh, I slept only 4 hours, so I know that this is affecting me and I need, like, 7 to 8 hours of sleep," but, like, you can't, like, measure stress in numbers, so I think it's hard to know, like, you know, how stressed you are until you're not stressed.
Yeah, or it just explodes, it just gets out of hand.
Yeah.
Sometimes you're just going through life and doing so many things, and you're realizing at the end of the day, you're still feeling that anxiety of like, go, 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 no pain, no gain. You don't know how to stop. That's a good sign that the stress is catching up.
Yeah.
Because chronic stress is just detrimental to our health and our well-being. I mean, it just physical ailments, come with that. So, once we're in the stress response, our brain is telling our digestive system, for example, to shut down. Like that's not important right now. We got to
Mm,
fight or flight. We got to
yeah.
show up to the meeting and like give that presentation. We got to fire up the cortisol levels, the adrenaline to make that happen. Because there's no way we can not show up and fail. So there's a lot of pressure from our modern lifestyle that puts us easily into chronic stress, and with time, that just deteriorates our health. So,
Yeah,
um,
definitely, definitely. I know
yeah.
I'm nodding yes because I can definitely relate to that, and I'm sure many of the audience can relate to that. Because of some of PCOS is related to chronic stress as well, so definitely makes sense.
Mhm.
Another thing with like having PCOS that can be stressful is that, you know, people may have like poor body image or low confidence or like a negative outlook about life. And I know things like you were saying, like, you know, meditation and like practicing gratitude and saying positive affirmations can be helpful. And like, I even encourage my clients to do that. But sometimes they're not helpful. Like you just, you know, like you said, you kind of thought like initially EFT tapping was silly, but like, yeah, people think like, okay, me just saying like positive things is not really changing how I feel. So like, why
Mhm.
are sometimes some of these things actually not helpful?
Yeah, well, I think first of all, it'd be helpful to just take a moment and say to yourself in one of those affirmations, pay attention to what comes up. When you say, "I'm good enough," and take a moment to zoom in on yourself. What are the thoughts that are coming up? What are the emotions coming up? And you start hearing, like maybe your inner critic saying, "No, of course you're not good enough. You failed so many times," or look at this thing happened in the past. And there are so much proof that's the total opposite. So there's a part of us that feels like it's a
Mm,
big fat lie. And
yes.
I think in the world of positive thinking, it's I understand why people encourage us to cultivate positive thinking, and that's really important. And at the same time, we have to honor what is our emotional truth. What are we actually feeling about that positive affirmation? And in EFT, what we can do is work with that because that's a great sign that there's a limiting belief there. So
Mm,
most people, they think, I'm just going to think this positive affirmation over and over, and if I repeat it enough, it will become true. And it's like sweeping the dust under the rug. It's still there.
yeah.
There's still a part of you that doesn't think that it's true. So instead of just sweeping it under the rug, let's look underneath the rug, see what's there, see where is this coming from? When did it start? And we can use that as a gauge to see where we are on that path towards embodying that positive affirmation. Because the subconscious is where all the limiting beliefs are. And the positive affirmations, we're just working with our conscious mind, and it's just a
Right.
totally different place. We have to go deeper. It's like we've already been talking about earlier, it's going down to the roots. So we have to look at, why don't you feel that that's true, and really be honest and transparent with yourself, and tap those statements out, tap out all the negative stuff that you're thinking, that are probably not even your own thoughts, that are coming from childhood
Mm,
and your parents and teachers and society. So it's a great self-awareness practice to you know be honest with yourself and then really just acknowledge what's actually here. And now sorry, acknowledging that first is what will
right.
get you towards embodying that positive affirmation. It's not white knuckling yourself to that truth.
Yeah, that makes sense. So it's like everything, I guess, starts with mindset and addressing the subconscious mindset first, right? And then once you are consciously saying these like affirmations, then they'll be effective once the subconscious is addressed as to like, where are these thoughts coming from in the first place, and why do you have like these years of conditioning, like you said, from childhood or society that has planted these thoughts in you, right? Basically.
Right, right. Because I mean, consciously, we can know that we're good enough. Now that we're adults, we know that these thoughts come from childhood. Maybe we already have that conscious awareness, but for some reason, we still feel underneath the surface, it doesn't feel quite true. And so that would, for me, means as an EFT practitioner that there are probably subconscious blocks there or unhealed past wounds. And so we would go in and tap on those and clear them, release those, and then you'll find that your intuition comes online, that your inner knowing, your inner
Mm.
wisdom is more alive, and then you feel like it's actually true. You'll start seeing proof of, oh, I am good enough here and there. Oh, here's this example, and more proof will come to you as you release those blocks. It's kind of like we are naturally good enough. It's just we've learned the opposite growing up. And
Mm.
once you release those blocks, it's like removing the rocks out of a river they're blocking the flow of the river. Then you naturally find that worth, that inner worth that's always been there, that value that maybe you haven't seen for a really long time.
Mm.
It's just a matter of healing the stuff that's blocking your perspective.
Wow. That's a really nice analogy. That totally makes sense. Like, move the bad stuff out and then make space for the good stuff to
Hmm.
grow and, help you grow in life. um,
Hmm.
so why don't we do a little bit of EFT tapping then? I think that will really help everyone finally like understand and, try it out themselves.
Yeah, sure. I mean, it's definitely something you have to experience at least once to really get it. It's something we can talk about for hours, but until you really experience it, you really
Yeah.
don't know. Yeah, because people are stunned by the how quick you can feel more relaxed and calm. So yeah, let's get into it.
Is there, I don't know, do you need to do any sort of like intro to it, or I mean, I
No, I
know a little
think
bit about it, but yeah.
right,
Okay.
right. Well, these are just tapping points. So the first one is on the side of the hand. And so you just use 3 or 4 fingers of one hand and you tap on the side of
Mhm.
the other hand. Doesn't matter which side. It's, above your wrist and underneath your pinky there. Yep. And you just tap firmly enough so that you feel it. And so this is the first acupuncture point, and you basically say a simple phrase. The basic sequence is, even though I have this issue, or even though I feel this emotion,
Mm.
I love and accept myself. For some people, they prefer to say, I choose to accept myself. Whatever works for you at the end there. So I like to say, I choose to accept myself, right? Most people can say that.
Okay.
And so we will repeat that 3 times, and then I'll show you the rest of the points as we go. So I
Okay.
guess what do you want to tap on?
Um, we can talk about, so lately I recently broke my ankle, and so I haven't been able to like work out, and then I know I'm resting, but I just feel like I'm just sitting around, and I'm like worried I might gain weight. And I just like don't feel good about, like, I just feel like a blob, and I just like really don't feel good about like my body, which I know, like, like we talked about with PCOS, that many people may feel, just not feel good in their own skin, like on a day-to-day
Mhm.
basis, which is, something that's like frustrating.
Mhm. Okay. And so I want to ask you where you feel this tension in your body as you're
So
thinking about, I feel like a blob, I'm worried about my body gaining weight. Where do you feel it in your body?
I feel it a lot in my neck and shoulders, like back here and my shoulders here. And sometimes like I notice like I'm clenching my jaw throughout my day, and then I like realize it, and then I, try to breathe, but it's just like, oh, I didn't realize that, it's affecting. affecting me that much that I'm like clenching my jaw and I feel
Mm-hmm.
the tightness in my neck and shoulders.
Okay. So you feel in your neck and shoulders and your jaw right now as you're thinking about it?
I Well, now I don't feel it because I'm like aware of the jaw part, but yeah, I do feel a little bit like here
Okay.
tension.
All right. So which one is stronger, your neck, shoulders, or your jaw?
I would say my neck.
Okay. And on a scale of 0 to 10, 10 being the highest, how intense is that tension in your
Mm,
neck?
I'd say like 5.
Okay, 5. So we'll use that to measure our progress. I think that's just wonderful to always zoom in on your body and see where you're feeling the tension as you're thinking
Mm,
about the cause of stress. That's a great way to just
mm,
connect with yourself and to also measure your progress as you're tapping. If that tension that's a 5 right now reduces even just, one number in the next round, that means we're making progress. We're tapping on the right thing. So that's what I advise everyone to do. So we're just going to tap on the side of the hand and use that in our tapping statement. Even though
Even though
I feel this tension in my neck,
I feel this tension in my neck,
I feel like a blob.
I feel like a blob.
Yeah, and I'm just using your words. It's
Yes.
your own words are the best.
Yeah.
I am worried about gaining weight.
I'm worried about gaining weight.
I choose to accept myself.
I choose to accept myself.
Even though I feel this tension in my neck,
Even though I feel this tension in my neck,
I feel like a blob.
I feel like a blob.
I'm afraid of losing weight or gaining weight. Sorry.
I'm afraid of gaining weight.
I know I'm resting.
I know I'm resting.
I'm still worried.
I'm still worried.
I choose to accept myself.
I choose to accept myself,
Even though
even though
I feel this tension in my neck,
I feel this tension in my neck,
worried about gaining weight.
worried about gaining weight.
I choose to accept myself anyway.
I choose to accept myself anyway.
Right. The next point is on the top of the head, right in the center. And we're just going to say a reminder phrase. So a bit of what you just said, but in a shorter version. So this tension,
This tension,
and the eyebrow points just above your nose, beginning of the eyebrow. Doesn't matter which side. Yep. This tension in my neck.
this tension in my neck,
And then side of the eye, right on the bone. It's like you're almost touching your eye. That's it. Worried about gaining weight.
worried about gaining weight,
Under the eye, right on the bone. This tension in my neck.
this tension in my neck,
Under the nose. I'm resting,
I'm resting,
but I'm not moving enough. That chin. This tension in my neck.
this tension in my neck,
Okay, and the collarbone point, it's right underneath the collarbone, the knob there, just below it. Yeah. This tension in my neck.
this tension in my neck,
Okay, and then the last point is underneath your arm, just 4 inches below the armpit.
here,
Yep, that's it. This tension in my neck.
this tension in my neck.
Right, just take a deep breath. And check in with your neck and see how the tension is now.
Feel like it's a little bit better.
What number would you give it?
Like a 4?
Okay, great. So it was a 5 before and now it's a 4.
Yeah,
Okay.
good.
Okay. And so during that round, you may have noticed that, you had thoughts or emotions or maybe physical sensations come up, perhaps a memory. What came up for you?
Well, the saying a blob, I like, imagine myself like as a blob. So I know silly, but that came up. And then I did feel like, like my, shoulders, and it wasn't like as tight, I felt like I could relax it. So that felt
Hmm.
good. And I think like saying it out loud helps. I guess like, when we're thinking about the positive affirmations and then you have like those negative thoughts, but like they're just thoughts. But then like when you say it, I don't know, it's just, I guess you're releasing it, or I don't know, right? Like there's
Yeah,
something about
it's
saying it that helps.
right. Saying it while you're tapping is best because if you're
Mm-hmm.
just talking about it, you could just be reinforcing the same neural pathways in your brain, and that's, not quite helpful. You want to, release that stress from your body, release that the self-judgment. That's why some people say they've been to therapy and talk therapy specifically, and they come to me afterwards like, I don't know, I don't feel like I got anywhere. It's probably because we haven't gotten into our body and released the stress. That is really the key. Is
Mm,
if you have some story, you're ranting and you're unhappy about something, like just make sure you tap on the side of the hand as you're ranting. You know,
yeah.
if even if it's underneath the table or something, because at least you're releasing the
Mm.
stress from your body instead of reinforcing the story in your mind. And
Oh,
you're just
that's a
kind
good
of
point. Yeah.
reliving the stress of that event. That's why talking about traumatic experiences can actually be re-traumatizing.
Yeah.
Right? So there are very gentle ways to work with trauma with EFT, and definitely if we're talking about something really stressful, we want to be tapping at the same time because at least we're
Huh, that's a good
releasing it.
tip. Yeah, that makes sense. That's a good tip.
All right, so the tension is still in the neck, right? It's a 4.
Yeah.
Okay. And are there any other physical sensations? Sometimes that
Um,
happens when we tap with shifts.
no. I feel like it's like maybe moved up. Like it was like, the whole neck, and now I just feel like it's like the top part, which is
Hmm.
interesting.
Yes, that can happen in EFT. Yeah, when you have a physical tension in one place and it moves to another place, that's your body. It's like it's released the stress from the lower part of your neck and now it's moving up.
Mm,
That's the next thing to tap on.
mm,
So we gotta do that.
okay.
Right? So even though I'm still feeling this tension
Even though I'm still feeling this tension
in my neck,
in my neck,
it's moved upwards
it's moved upwards
as I imagine myself as a blob.
as I imagine myself as a blob.
I choose to accept myself.
I choose to accept myself.
And I guess what are you feeling? What's the main emotion that comes up when you're imagining yourself as a blob?
Uh, just like, not feeling good about myself, like, well, like being in front of the camera, not going to be happy about that, if I don't like the way that I look, and yeah,
Okay.
and yeah, not like being confident, like if I see myself like that,
Mm-hmm. Okay. All right. Even though
even though
I'm still feeling this tension in my neck,
I'm still feeling this tension in my neck,
I don't feel confident.
I don't feel confident.
It's not going to look good on camera.
It's not going to look good on camera.
I choose to accept myself anyway.
I choose to accept myself anyway,
Even though
even though
I'm still feeling this tension in my neck,
I'm still feeling this tension in my neck,
seeing myself as a blob,
seeing myself as a blob,
judging myself,
judging myself,
not being happy with the image,
not being happy with the image,
feeling unconfident.
feeling unconfident.
I choose to accept myself anyway.
I choose to accept myself anyway,
All right, top of the head, feeling unconfident,
feeling unconfident,
eyebrow, this tension in my neck,
this tension in my neck,
side of the eye, feeling like a blob.
feeling like a blob.
Under the eye. Not going to look good on camera.
Not gonna look good on camera.
Oh, that was on the chin. Skipped the point there, but it's all right. We can go. I'll follow your lead. Just
Oh.
tension in my neck.
Tension in my neck.
Collarbone. Feeling like a blob.
Feeling like a blob.
Under the arm. Feeling unconfident.
Feeling unconfident.
All right. Take a deep breath. Okay. Check in with your neck. How is it now?
Feel like it's a little better. Doesn't feel as concentrated there anymore.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel it actually more down now, but not as like intense.
Okay.
Like down here.
Great. And what number would you give it?
2, I guess. 2.
Oh, great.
Yeah.
Yeah. For me, 2, 1, or 0 is great. We can just stop there even. We can do one more round, like in a positive round to end on a high note,
Yeah,
if you'd
I
like.
can do that.
Okay. And what came up for you, if anything?
I think it's interesting because, like you said, like sometimes, like I didn't realize like the one of the reasons I'm worried about that is because of like being in front of the camera until I said it. But I guess
Mm,
that's like, getting into the subconscious, right? Like
yeah.
the root, like why was I so worried about it? But like, and I think through that round I realized like it's okay. It's just like how I am, and it's a phase
Mm.
in my life. Like I broke my ankle, that's fine, and it will heal, and yeah.
Great. Yes, that's one of the signs that EFT is working is, well, just the first
Oh.
thing is the tension moving down to another area that's, we just have to keep tapping it out. It's calling chasing the sensation, chasing the
Mm.
pain. That's one of the techniques in EFT. Emotions can manifest as tension, physical tension in the body.
Mm-hmm.
The other sign is just having this acceptance of who you are and where you are in life, and it's just a temporary thing that you're going through. That's a great sign that EFT is working.
Oh wow,
And
okay, that's good.
yeah, yes, yeah. And one of the things that can happen is, as we tap on one layer and then we tap on the next one, well, it kind of opens up our mind towards other possibilities, other ways of
Mm-hmm.
seeing the same situation. So you find like, oh, there's stuff that comes up to the surface, like this fear of not looking good on camera. You weren't aware that it was there, but once we tapped
Yeah.
on the first issue, like the first round, then you have access to that next layer. Next layer is, oh, this fear of not good on camera. And then who knows, what comes up next as we peel off the layers can get really deep. And yeah, we're on the right track. All
Okay,
these are really great
cool. Yeah,
signs.
that's
Yeah.
exciting. Okay.
All right. So let's just do one more round to end on a high note there. All right. Even though I'm feeling this tension at the bottom, right, of my neck, at the
Even though I'm
uh,
feeling this tension at the bottom of my neck,
I know this is a temporary event.
I know this is a temporary event.
My ankle's going to heal,
My ankle's going to heal.
and I'm going to be able to move again
I'm going to be able to move again
and exercise.
and exercise.
I choose to accept myself.
I choose to accept myself,
Even though I'm still feeling this tension in my neck,
even though I'm still feeling this tension in my neck.
I'm okay.
I'm okay.
I'm safe.
I'm safe.
I know my ankle's going to heal,
I know my ankle's going to heal.
and I love and accept myself.
Love and accept myself,
Even though
even though
the tension has moved down in my neck,
the tension has moved down in my neck.
I know I'm going to be okay.
No, I'm going to be okay.
My ankle's going to heal,
My ankle's going to heal.
and I love and honor my body.
I love and honor my body.
All right, top of the head. this tension in my neck,
This tension in my neck,
eyebrow, honoring my body,
honoring my body,
side of the eye, grateful that it can heal itself,
grateful that it can heal itself,
under the eye, allowing myself to rest,
allowing myself to rest,
under the nose. I know I'm going to be okay.
I'm gonna be okay.
The chin, acknowledging this tension,
Acknowledging this tension,
collarbone, releasing this tension,
releasing this tension,
under the arm. I love and respect my body.
I love and respect my body.
Okay, take a deep breath.
Okay, well, that was good.
How are you feeling?
Good, really good, actually. Um, well, actually, before you said the part about like it can heal itself, I actually realized that too. Like while I was tapping, like actually, like it's amazing that the ankle can actually just heal itself. Like, the doctors told me I don't need like a cast and I don't need surgery, and they said it will heal itself, which at that time I was like, okay, whatever. But like, I guess I really appreciated that my body can do that for itself as opposed to like, I guess before when we started, I was like just looking at the, the like not feeling comfortable in my skin because of how I look on the outside, but appreciating that my body can still do other good things like heal itself.
That's beautiful. That's
Yeah,
really beautiful.
that's really nice,
Yeah.
actually. Thanks.
You're welcome. How's the tension now? Just to check in one last time.
Um, yeah, I don't know. It's not really there actually, which is weird,
Amazing.
but
That's
yes,
amazing.
amazing.
Yeah. Because what was
Yeah,
it before?
a 5.
And now it's
Wow.
a 0. So, right? There's nothing else. There's
Yeah,
nothing there? Okay.
no,
Yeah.
no.
Just in 3 rounds.
I know, that's so amazing. Oh my God, I'm so excited. Wow.
And you can do this anytime. Anytime you feel anxious,
Yeah.
you just start tapping right away on whatever comes to mind, either the physical tension in your body, the emotion that you're feeling, or the negative thoughts that you have. You just insert it into the phrase, even though, then insert the emotion, the tension, the thought, and then I choose to accept myself. And it's really that last part, because the first part is you're exposing yourself to that stress a
Mhm.
little bit. It's,
Yeah.
EFT has roots in exposure therapy. So you're actually kind of exposing yourself to the trigger, feeling like a blob,
Mhm.
worrying about not looking good on camera. And then you're saying, I choose to accept myself at the end of that phrase. And it's like, no matter what happens, I accept myself anyway. And that's,
Yeah.
so healing. It's the self-love and compassion that you're saying to yourself, no matter what happens. So we're reframing that same situation and seeing it in a totally different way. And we're literally rewiring our brains so that we can just open
Yeah.
up the creative thinking, the forefront of our brain, creative thinking and rational thinking, and just opening up the body to less stress and more ease and more confidence. So yeah, that's what we did in just
Yeah.
3 rounds.
But yeah,
You
I'm
can
like
do this every day.
seriously like really shocked and surprised and happy that like I just had this whole like realization all in like I don't know how long was that, like 10 minutes? I don't know.
Yeah,
Yeah.
about just, yeah, only 10
Wow.
minutes. Yeah.
It's
Yeah,
really
it's
awesome.
potent.
Yeah. Now I can understand how you're saying like yeah, like you changed all the aspects of your life.
Yeah.
So you were saying there's like different phrases you can say. So I know like with PCOS, like sometimes, people may feel like immense burden with like conceiving, and that just causes like a lot of stress and like the possibilities of like a miscarriage, or like if they've already experienced those things, then, they just might be worried that it happens again. And even if they get pregnant, they may not be like really happy about it because they're like, they feel like this impending doom and things like that. So like how can you like what are some phrases, or like how can you use like tapping for those types of situations?
Yes, well, you can use EFT on any of those worries that you have. So, if someone has already experienced a miscarriage, then I definitely recommend them to work with a certified EFT
Mm,
practitioner, ideally trauma informed, because there's
yes.
deep grief there, and it might be uncomfortable and
Mm,
safe to actually go there alone. But those kinds of, past events kind of stay with us until we fully heal, and it's gonna be hard to move forward if we don't heal them first.
yeah.
So that's the first thing, and then second is any residual thoughts that you have, you can just tap on. Even though I'm worried about having to conceive again, I'm feeling all this pressure. I choose to accept myself. It can just be very, very simple. Should keep it simple anyway. And
Okay.
just
Yeah.
address the fear, address the worries, any negative thoughts. You can even like play with your imagination a little bit and imagine what that pressure would look like. So kind of like when you were
Mm,
saying you felt like a blob, you can ask yourself like if this pressure to conceive had a shape, what would it be?
mm,
Maybe it's a dark cloud that's floating over your head, or
mm,
maybe it's just a huge weight on your shoulders or something.
huh,
And then you can tap on that. Even though I'm feeling this dark cloud of this pressure to conceive, I choose to accept myself. You know or just really simple, even though maybe someone hasn't had a miscarriage, but they're projecting their fears onto the future. Even though I'm worried
mm,
that I'm going to have a miscarriage, I choose to accept myself. And every single time, you do one round, just zoom in on yourself, tune in and see what thoughts, emotions, physical sensations have come up. And that's the next thing that you should tap on. That's the hint that your body is giving you, your intuition is signaling, go there, tap on that next. And then
wow.
keep going until you feel calmer. And as you saw, it could be very quick. It could just be one round,
Mhm.
2 rounds, 3 rounds. It'll take only a couple minutes. Yeah.
Wow. So amazing. Well, thank you for sharing that. I think that'll be really helpful for a lot of people listening to this. But I
It's
think
my
one thing
pleasure.
that you said that was really, I want to touch on is, like if you're dealing with trauma, seek like professional help. So, like earlier, we were also saying it's a good self help tool. So, like, where do you, draw the line? Like, can I try this out, or no, I should just, start off with like seeking professional guidance.
Yeah, as a self-help tool, I definitely recommend just using it as a self-soothing tool. So anytime you feel stressed or
Mhm.
anxious, then you can pull it out, just start tapping right away, tap on whatever comes up in your mind. If you're already feeling the stress, like your emotions are already on fire, you're already feeling angry, frustrated,
Mm,
whatever, you can just start tapping with no words even, just any
okay.
acupuncture point, whatever you feel called to do, you just start tapping until you feel calmer because your body's already feeling that emotion. You can feel the stress, the tension, maybe muscle tension somewhere. So just to, tap whenever you feel anxious. I'd say that's the first thing. If you want to heal deeper stuff, you can. I definitely encourage it. I love the fact that EFT is accessible to everyone.
Mhm.
So, just if you're having like self-confidence issues, you can just think of a recent experience you had. Maybe someone said something that hurt you. Maybe
Mhm.
someone said a comment about your body and you really didn't appreciate it. You could say, even though I felt hurt when so and so said this about my body, I choose to accept myself. And keep going with each round, like we were saying, tune in and see what comes up. If you still find that issues are coming back up, like it's a recurrent theme, that means it's probably much more complex. There are probably unconscious blocks there. Maybe your blind spots are, keeping you from seeing
Yeah.
like what else is hidden. Then I'd say
Yeah.
that's a good moment to reach out to an EFT practitioner because they can really hold the space and help you see where your blind spots are. Even though I'm a certified EFT practitioner, I like working with a fellow practitioner because they help me see my own unconscious blocks. It's not easy to do it on your
Yeah.
own, and they give me the support. Like they hold my hand throughout the whole process, because they can be really dark and heavy thoughts that people aren't used to confronting on their own. And so having someone hold your hand as you, confront that, be honest with yourself, that's the crux of healing. So anytime you
Oh.
feel unsafe, uncomfortable, or overwhelmed, then that's the moment
Mm.
to reach out to an EFT practitioner, especially when it comes to trauma.
Yeah, no, thank you for sharing that. I think, um, yeah, I think we all have, okay, maybe not we all have, but I know there's been events in people's lives and, you may not know that it's connected. And then if you
Mhm.
start off doing like EFT yourself and you get to those points that you mentioned that, then I think, yes, that is great. Now we have like practitioners that can help people. And why don't you tell us how people can connect with you if they want to reach out to you and get help from you, or just reach out to you and follow your content?
Sure. Well, my website is hushyourmind.com. I'm currently offering, free EFT sessions. So they're 15-minute sessions, kind of like what we were just doing, in
Yeah.
exchange for a research interview. So if anyone wants some one-to-one free support, that'd be a great way to come connect with me. I love meeting people who are in my audience and just
Yeah.
sharing EFT in this way. And in the same exchange, will I get to learn about people and what their challenges are, and I get ideas for my content and offers. And so it's a win-win for both of us. I really love meeting people that way. And other than that, I'm on Instagram, so hush.yourmind. I have a podcast, the Hush Your Mind podcast. And I'll soon be creating a collection of free EFT meditations on Insight Timer, so
Oh,
people can find me there too.
well, that sounds cool. Well, thank you. Yeah, your podcast has a lot of like practical tips on how to include like EFT throughout your day and a little bit more background on EFT tapping as well. So check that out for everyone that enjoyed this episode. You can learn more from Annie's podcast and then connect with her on social media. But Annie, thank you so much. I really enjoyed this again. I know like this is our second time doing this, and yeah, thank you again. I really liked it.
Oh,
Yeah, I need to. I
thank
need
you.
to like I started to do it and then I need to get back into doing it again regularly. So I think this is a good reminder for that. So thank you. Thank you for
Oh,
sharing your knowledge with us.
such a big pleasure to be here. And thank you so much for inviting me to share with your community. I really do think EFT can help so many
Mm.
people. So thank you for letting me share it with the world.
Yeah, thank you. Okay, that's it for today's episode. As always, everyone, be kind to yourself, be patient, and focus on progress, not perfection. I'll see you next time.